Good evening. I'm Alcoholic Maysville, and it's a great privilege to be here with you guys. I'm especially looking forward to what comes next, which is my lovely wife. We'll be sharing her story with you. But I have just a few minutes to tell you, and I don't know about you guys. I'm kind of curious if anybody else is in the same boat, but life is in session today. You feeling that? There's a lot of stuff going on today. Life got a little bit hectic or crazy. Life got a little bit like life, especially so for me a few months ago. I don't want to give you any of you the wrong impression about me, but I'm unemployed. I'm unemployed because I was terminated. I was fired from my job. I'd like to say that a whole lot differently. I'd like to tell you that, the company downsized or I decided I wanted to do something different, but here's the truth. They asked me to quit coming to work, right? It's kind of how that worked out. Anyway, that's not really what I came to tell you, but my wife and I just celebrated in February here. We just celebrated our 11th anniversary. If you'd asked me even 12 years ago, is it possible for a guy like me to be married and be happy, and I wouldn't have been able to tell you I knew the answer to that question. There were many, many years before that I would have told you that simply wasn't in the cards for me, and I'm happy to tell you today that largely because of the principles of Alcoholics Anonymous, I am a happily married man, and I am celebrating our anniversary. But back to life in session. So I got fired from my job, and months before that, we had planned to go on a vacation around our anniversary. So we went to Hawaii for 2 weeks in February. That seems like a really good thing, right? But I don't know about you, but if you just lost your job and you got a big vacation like that coming up, I don't know if you tend to get a little tense. But that would be a normal reaction, certainly one for me. And you guys have taught me to try to live in the moment, and I can happily tell you that we had a fantastic time on vacation. I really wasn't too worried because I really believe that God's in charge and whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. But while we were on vacation, I did something that some people might think is odd. Some people would think is perfectly ordinary. When I go on vacation, I do some of the same things that I do when I'm at home. And one of those things is I go to meetings regularly. I was on a paradise island, and I went to an AA meeting every single day. In fact, most of those days I went to 2 meetings. And there was one of those days that I went to 3 meetings. And at one of those meetings, we were sitting next to a guy that was celebrating 10 months of sobriety, and we just were talking to him like we would talk to anybody else at an AA meeting. And he said, hey, you guys are only here for a short time. I don't know if you're into this kind of thing, but if it interests you, I think you should consider it. He said, there's this bay that if you get there by 8 in the morning and you go out in the water, there's going to be dolphins out there swimming. He said, every time I've been there, man, I've been out there swimming with the dolphins. And I don't know what you guys think about that. Maybe that's not your thing. I grew up in the water, and man, baby, that is my kind of thing, man. I want to check out some dolphins, right? So we had to get up early that morning. We had to drive an hour to get to this place. And we get to the bay, we get there in time, and I told my wife, I said, hey, babe, here's the thing. I'm going to go out and find the dolphins, and then I'll bring them back to you, okay? And she was really fond of that idea because I'm more familiar with swimming than she is, and so she was happy with that plan. And so off I went, and I swam that entire bay. Now it was a big enough bay. I wouldn't pull a aircraft carrier into it or anything, but it took me an hour to swim the entire bay. I went all the way out to one edge, across the long way, and then diagonally back the other way. And I swim pretty regularly, so it was a good swim. It was a good workout, right? For an hour I'm out there swimming. I didn't see a single stinking dolphin. Not one stinking dolphin. At one point in the swim, I happened to notice what looked like it might be a fin, or it could have just been the wind catching the swell. I was out quite a ways, and not where the waves are breaking, but where the water just kind of rises and falls. And so I see what I think is a kind of a fin, and I think, you know what? It looked like it was going this way, and if I swim out this way, I think I'll intersect with it, and so I swam just a very, very short time, and I looked, and I saw something moving, and I looked a little closer, and it was a humpback whale. It was about 30 feet away from me, and if you put your thumbs and your index fingers together, that's about the size of a whale's eye. I know that because it caught my attention. You might not think this is a real smart thing, and that's okay, but I wanted to touch the whale. I'm just saying. Judgment's never been my strong suit, okay? I wanted to swim towards the whale, I wanted to touch the swell, and as this whole thing was starting to evolve, I noticed there was another figure moving, and there was a baby whale next to it. And then that's when I noticed the eye. And I don't speak whale language, but I think that eye was telling me to back off. You know what I'm saying? And so I just kind of hung back and I watched it. And there was one other adult in the pack, and the three of them swam by. And I think if you could put a microphone in the water around Hawaii, even today, you might still hear the reverberations of a little girl screaming, right? But I was really excited. It was a really cool thing to do. It was just a dreamy experience for me. And now I've got to swim back to the shore. And I'm supposed to be bringing the dolphins back with me, right? Remember that part of the story. And I'm trying to think how it is I'm going to tell my wife what just happened. And so I think, well, maybe I'll just kind of ease into the conversation, right? See what happens. And so I'm walking up, and before I can say anything, she says, "Oh, honey, you missed it. These 3 whales just swam by." And yeah, I was kind of right there. So I think she was glad she wasn't in the water, to tell you the truth. But anyway, I tell you that story for a couple of reasons. One is that, there's kind of a parallel for me to that story and my life in AA, right? See, if I don't go to meetings, I don't get a chance to meet people who might just possibly introduce me to maybe a different way of looking at things. Maybe a different way to solve some of my problems. And it's not just enough to go to the meeting and hear somebody say that, but in my experience, it's been important for me to engage with those people, to get into a relationship with those people, and to do the things that those people do. And, like I said, what happened to me is I went to an AA meeting, and this guy said, "Hey, maybe you should go here and do this." And I went there, and I did that. I did what he suggested, and I didn't have the experience I thought I was going to have. But I had a really freaking cool one, And I just can't help but think about how, we live in a world that is full of abundance and amazement. And there's only one person that's ever kept me from realizing fantastic experiences like that. And you know who that person is? He's your 10-minute speaker. It's been me every single time. It's been the decisions I've made. It's been the things I've done to the things I've failed to do that have kept me from realizing life in its full amazement and abundance. And you guys have taught me a way to live where I don't have to miss any of those things. And so we came home, and I'm part of a planning committee for an event, an AA event that's coming up here in a couple of weeks. And we got our event committee together, and I thought it would be a really good idea to introduce the topic of some of the health concerns that are going on now around the coronavirus, right? Because that's in the news, and And on Wednesday night, everyone felt like it was appropriate for us to move forward with the event, and everybody was happy about it. Everybody had all their boxes checked, and everything's in order. And by Thursday night, we use a Facebook Messenger app to kind of communicate. And by Thursday night, there was this flurry of activity, people expressing points of view that were on stark opposites of one another, and it seemed like there was a lot of people getting upset. And we got to come up with something to do. And I don't know if you've been watching the news or watching what everybody else has been doing in the community, but we've all been doing different stuff. You know, a lot of things are getting canceled, and there's a great reluctance to cancel living life. I mean, you guys are all here tonight. You guys are demonstrating, at least, for yourself, you're making decisions to participate in life. And I don't know what drives all that for you. Maybe it's fellowship. Maybe you enjoy being around these people. I know that's a big thing for me. I love being around the people in Alcoholics Anonymous. But I also have to keep in mind that I have some elderly parents that spend time in my house. And so I'm really kind of conflicted. I'm just being honest with you. That's life showing up, right? I mean, I got Wales on one hand, and I got, what do I do about this other thing on the other hand? And today, what I'm doing is I'm staying plugged into the fellowship, but there are some things that I'm not doing, and I hope none of you will be offended when I have a chance to interact with you. I'm not going to shake your hand, and it's not because I don't want to. Man, I'm a hugger. If you know me, I'm a physical person, physical touch kind of person. But for the sake of your well-being and mine, I'm trying to practice what seem like reasonable measures. And life's in session. And I'm glad to be part of it, and I'm really, really glad to be here. So thank you for the invitation.